You're young, so when you sit in company, you sit quiet and listen. They say little pitchers have big ears, and they should have. That's the way to learn. You'll hear a lot of foolishness, but you'll hear wisdom too. And you must learn not to despise any man. Even a fool can teach you not to be foolish, and there's no telling where you'll hear the thing that will help you to do the job easier, or the thing that may save your life. Why, hello, Tube. Today we have Down the Long Hills by Louis L'Amour. If you like your own copy, you can use my affiliate link down below to thebookshop.org. Or if you use it to purchase this book or any book, you get an awesome book at no extra cost to yourself. And I get a small commission. It's a win-win. It's a great way to help support the channel. You can also support the channel by hitting that thumbs up button, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that noise. And finally, there are timestamps down below if you like to skip around the video. If you don't like a certain section, you can just skip ahead. About Louis L'Amour, I'm just going to read the About section in the back of the book, because why not? I've done literally 3,000 Louis L'Amour videos by now. Not literally, but pretty close, It will probably close to 50 anyway. So we're just gonna cheat and use the About section. Louis L'Amour, born Louis Dearborn L'Amour, is of French-Irish descent. Although Mr. L'Amour claims his writings began as a spur-of-the-moment thing, prompted by friends who relished his verbal tales of the West, he comes by his talent honestly. A frontiersman by heritage, his grandfather was scalped by the Sioux, and a universal man by experience, Louis L'Amour lives the life of the fictional heroes. Since leaving his native Jamestown, North Dakota at the age of 15, he's been a longhornsman, lumberjack, elephant handler, hay shocker, loom builder, fruit picker, and the officer on tank destroyers during World War II. And he's written 400 short stories and over 50 books. That's absolutely nuts. That's actually what it says. It's actually nuts. Oh, including a volume of poetry. Mr. L'Amour has lectured widely, traveled the West, thoroughly studied archaeology, compiled biographies of over 1,000 Western gunfighters, and read prodigiously. His library holds more than 2,000 volumes. You never heard of BookTube, huh? He's watched 31 of his Westerns as movies. He circled the world on a freighter, mined in the West, sailed a dhow on the Red Sea, been shipwrecked in the West Indies, stranded in the Mojave Desert. He won 51 of 59 fights as a professional boxer and pinch hit for the Dorothy Callaghan when she was on vacation from her column. Guessing that's not a baseball reference. I don't know. Since 1816, 33 members of his family have been writers, and he says, I could sit the middle of the Sunset Boulevard and write with my typewriter on my knees. Temperamental, I am not. Okay. Mr. L'Amour is recreating an 1865 Western town christened Chalaco, where the borders of Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado meet, otherwise known as the Four Corners. I don't think he just said that. Historically authentic from whistle to well, it will be a live operating town as well as a movie location and tourist attraction. I wonder if that's still around. Mr. L'Amour now lives in Los Angeles with his wife Kathy, who helps with the enormous amount of research he does for his books. Soon Mr. L'Amour hopes the children, Beau and Angelique, will be helping too. So there you have the About section. About this story, why did I put my glasses back on? I'm just going to read the synopsis on the back, which isn't very helpful, but we'll go into a little bit deeper detail here in a minute. After the massacre, Hardy and Betty Sue were left with only a horse and a knife with which to face the long battle against the wilderness. A 7-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl stranded on the limitless prairie. They were up against starvation, marauding Indians, savage outlaws, and the wild animals. They were mighty stubborn, but the odds were against them, and their luck was about to run out. So not only was this a banger of a story, but there was also a Disney movie made about it. Down the Long Hills, this is coming from the Disney something or another. Uh, Down the Long Hills is a 1986 television film that originally aired as a Disney Channel premiere on November 15th, 1986. The film was directed by Burt Kennedy and written by John and Ruth Povari, based on the novel by Louis L'Amour. That means absolutely nothing to me, to be honest. It starred Brooks Boxletter as Scott Collins, which is the dad, which I had no idea who that was, but when I clicked on him, I vaguely recognized his face. He was like in Tron and stuff back in the day. Thomas Wilson Brown was Hardy Collins, and Lisa McFarlane was Betty Sue Powell. And I'm not sure who the kids are. I didn't really care to look. I did look it up because I was thinking about watching it over the weekend. I just never got around to it. But it's on YouTube, so you can watch it for free on YouTube if you want to. Finally, what I think of the story. I thought it was really, really good. Now, I could see, so I was curious to see what Goodreads had to say about it, and it was kind of a mixed bag, and I understand why. Because the book is not remotely, like, believable. Like a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, traipsing cross country with basically a giant big red horse that they didn't have a saddle for most of the ride. And basically starting off with no food, no actual weapons. Basically, the 7-year-old was taking care of himself and the 3-year-old, and just if you've been around a 3-year-old, you know how well they move. So that alone is kind of unbelievable, and just the amount of I'm not going to spoil or anything, so don't worry. But the amount of obstacles that they face between basically what the book said, the weather, people after them, the animals, completely an unbelievable story, absolutely unbelievable. There's just no. If you want your stories to be believable, this one is not for you. However, that's not what I read Westerns for. I read Westerns for the story and just to have fun. Like if I want something that's serious and believable, I'd read something else. I wouldn't be reading a Louis L'Amour Western. Not that I'm saying that Louis L'Amour isn't a credible writer or anything. I'm just saying that's not what I care about. What I care about is the story and is it fun. And this book was fun with a capital fun. It kind of reminded me, it had the same sort of a feel as, say, like Shane by, was it Jack Schaefer who wrote Shane? Whereas, it's completely focused around the kids. The father pops in and out of the story, other people pop in and out of the story, but the primary focus is the kids and their journey and what they're doing to survive. And it's just, I thought it was great. I had so much fun with it. I read it in 2 sittings. I probably would have read it in 1 had I, managed my time a little better. But, just so much fun. Go read it, especially if you're a fan of Shane by, like I said, I think it was Jack Schaefer. If you haven't read this one, check it out. It's so much fun. And this is one of those too that I don't think you have to be a fan of Westerns to enjoy. And in fact, probably being a fan of Western might actually limit your enjoyment if you are into what I was saying earlier, like you want your Westerns to be more, say if you want them more gritty or if you want them more realistic, you probably won't like this one. But, if you're, a Western reader and you don't care about those things, or this would be a good one if you're just wondering if the Westerns are something you might want to pursue. I think this would be a good starting novel just because, you get to follow these kids around. And again, I thought it was fun. So I think that's going to be it before I start rambling. Let me know down below. Have you read Down the Long Hills? I have no idea where this title even came from, by the way. I have no idea. No idea why that was what it was called. But let me know down below. Did you read it? What'd you think of it? What did I get right? Did I get anything wrong? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And yeah, I think that's it for this one, peeps. Hashtag Western Wednesday. Over and out.